Hey everybody, we've got a brand new tornado warning and a brand new flash flood warning. Obviously we'll go first with the tornado warning. It's in effect for the cell that you see at the center part of your screen there in western Bedford and eastern BOTETOURT County. There was a special weather statement out for this not long ago for the cell that was coming out of eastern Roanoke County near the Vinton area. We've also got some rotation in this thing being picked up by radar, and that's why the National Weather Service has gone ahead and issued until 10 p.m. a tornado warning. Slight hook echo here. We've also got a slight hook echo to the south as well, but the one near Montvale is the more impressive rotation. And let me show you kind of a new feature here. I'm going to go to my other computer. I brought in my home computer as well, and I've got something called NDI where I can screen share what is on that computer so I can show you different products faster. You can see the area of rotation right near 460. This is going to update in a second where we've got now the shear is located according to the radar a little bit farther north of 460, very close to the Montvale area. You can see a jump in lightning as well, and the bigger the lightning strike, the stronger the lightning is, basically more intense the lightning is. But this is strong gate-to-gate shear being picked up here. This kind of filters out the other radar data that we don't need to look at in terms of looking at a tornado, and it kind of highlights the area that we do need to be looking at. And this is moving off. Let's see, let me get the latest text of this warning up for you. Moving to the northeast or northeast, I believe. Pull that up in a window until 10 p.m., moving northeast at 20. You can see it now kind of cycling down a little bit in terms of the actual imagery, but still looking at a fair amount of rotation there near Montvale. That's pretty concerning. You filter out the storm movement, you can also still see the rotation. So it's just to the north of Montvale in Bedford County. This is an area that has seen tornadoes before from the south and from the west. This one's coming in from the southwest. But included in the polygon is Buchanan. And you can't really see that here too well. Let me pull that down for you. And we'll lower the screen a little bit. Buchanan is included in this because you've actually got some broader rotation near you. Right there near Buchanan, but this is the cell by far near the Montvale area that's moving up toward the Bedford-BOTETOURT County line, right near the Parkway. Again, we're busting the myth tonight that tornadoes do not hit the mountains. I don't see any confirmation of debris, but I do see some concerning evidence there on the velocity. So let me go back and look at the radar, look at that rotation. I'm going to put a marker here, and we're going to look at the correlation coefficient. Okay, so that was right there. Just making sure I'm not seeing any debris on the radar. Could be some debris showing up actually. There's a lowering there. It may be inflow being picked up into the storm, but whatever the case is, enough evidence to warrant the tornado, and certainly enough rotation in that area to warrant the tornado warning. You can see the greens there coming into the radar screen and the reds going away. Let's go back again. I want to show you Montvale, Buchanan, Arcadia, Peaks of Otter Summit, Lithia, Peaks of Otter Recreation Area, and Sedalia in the path of this potential tornado. And again, it's radar indicated. It's until 10 o'clock this evening. That goes just to the east of Blue Ridge. Blue Ridge, I think you're okay. It's going just east of you, but it is going to clip southern BOTETOURT County south of Buchanan there on 43 as you make your way out of Buchanan. It's going to come very close to 43. And then as it continues out toward this is mainly, I think, a mountainous area of Bedford County. Watch out in Rockridge County too. You've got this heavy storm activity moving in with potential rotation. We've also got a brand new flash flood warning that's in effect until 3:45 a.m. for Newcastle, northwest Roanoke County, and western BOTETOURT County. Let me zoom out a little bit, because what I've done is I've also shown you an area of heavy rainfall that should be developing in this area here. This is an area that the Storm Prediction Center is watching for additional heavier rainfall to be developing and moving in from the south, along with the tornado threat that's down here. But what we've also got is the significant tornado parameter plotted here for you, and that is basically a look at where the atmosphere has the most potential to produce a tornado based on both instability and available shear. And so if you look at these STP values, you see them there about 1.1, highest actually in Franklin County. They may be a little delayed, but I just want to give you an idea of where the tornado potential is on my meso-analysis product here. So you can see right through the highlands, backing up through the NRV, through Franklin County, down through Southside, east toward the Richmond area. This is where that boundary is, and these storms are intersecting that boundary. Now the good news is we do see a little bit of a break in the action as you go farther south into North Carolina. Let's see, do this. We'll switch monitors here, and I want to show you the bigger picture. There is a bit of a dry slot, or a drier slot, coming in around Atlanta. But there's also a secondary slot. Let's see, at least a weakness in radar activity. You don't see much in the way of action in North Carolina upstream for the moment, like right in through here. We've got kind of a slot of no activity, but we still do have wind shear through here. Don't get me wrong. There's just not much on the radar. So this is the wave that's coming through right now into the highlands, and that's moving northeast, and that's what's producing the tornado warning. This wave we'll have to watch, but we're also going to have to see if anything fills in across this drier area. Looks like the National Weather Service may consider dropping some North Carolina counties out of the tornado watch if this trend continues in a better fashion there across North Carolina, as far as not seeing any rain or any storms upstream. It looks like the most severe is what we've got going on right now through Roanoke and Bedford counties. Let's show you the rotation over the past hour. And you can see some really strong rotation with this. You see how it increased there around the Montvale area, coming out of actually northern Franklin County. It had some rotation with this, but then the rotation really increased and got going there in these brighter yellow and red colors there. That's where the radar has indicated the rotation. So this product continually updates every few minutes. It's called MRMS rotation. The red that you're seeing in the background is just where we've got the tornado watch. In the blue area is where we've got the higher values of potential tornadic activity. So you can see the mean vector there moving northeast at about 10 miles per hour. Let's look back to our gate-to-gate shear and check out what's going on there. New scan just came in on the other monitor. So we'll zoom you into this area, and again, this is a radar indicated tornado until 10 p.m. You can still see those levels there and within the polygon on the Bedford and Buchanan line. And again, that's very close to Route 43 coming out of Bedford in the BOTETOURT County. It's radar indicated. There's a sufficient amount of lightning too, so this is a pretty bad looking storm. We'll put the radar on for you here. Go back to that. I still see the rotation there, pretty impressive. The greens and the oranges coming away from the radar. That's storm relative rotation. That's regular velocity here. We're getting a couple of moving northeast now at 15 miles per hour. A couple of updates coming in. We've also got some trees down in the Blacksburg area from that tornado warning earlier. So at the very least, we're at least getting some straight line wind damage from these if they're not, producing the tornadoes. All right, I think we just joined folks on Instagram as well. Let me go to my Radar Omega app, and if you're watching on Instagram, a tornado warning until 10 for areas just north of Montvale and Bedford County up the Buchanan, BOTETOURT, Bedford County. Had reports earlier of the tornadoes, or at least a tornado and some damage here. We've also got a couple of flood products that we need to tell you about. A flood advisory is out for most of Roanoke, northwest Franklin County. Sending the image out, we're getting rainfall rates within some of this stuff at about 4 to 5 to 6.5 inches per hour. That's now through Covington, falling very heavily now in the Pocahontas County, West Virginia. Somebody on TikTok just said they can confirm the heavier rainfall there. But this is the most concerning part. We've got a flash flood warning for Newcastle and Catawba on 311. Watch out for flooding there because of all that heavy rain you saw there in the red area. But also some damaging straight line winds possible in these supercell storms, or these spinning storms that are trying to develop. Here's the latest look at the radar picture a little bit differently. You can see Fork Mountain. That's not the Franklin County Fork Mountain. That's a different one. Munford, Arcadia, Buchanan, Reba, Penix Mill, Irving, Curtis, Otterville is going to be just to the south, I think, of this potential area of rotation. Radar Omega, we can look at the same product but in a different way. You can see a hook there on this imagery. And that's only a few minutes old. Yeah, a bit of a hook there, and there's again 43, and it's really tightened up now. A bit of an inflow notch as it just updated 2 minutes ago. So if there's a tornado, it's very close to Reba. Let's see if it'll let me go in tighter here. We can really start to pick out some areas. Sharp Top Mountain is right. If you've been hiking, you know that area. It's right in the path of this, believe it or not. Again, we're busting that myth that these things miss the mountains. They do not. If we have enough wind shear in place, which we do, we can get tornadoes in this area. So let's go in a little bit more. This is right over Campbell's Mountain, Pike Road, McFalls Mountain. And it's going to look kind of blocky here, but I'm doing this so I can give you some more locations. Sunset Hill, Route 695, Route 698, Route 680. That's Goose Valley Road. Goose Valley Creek Road, Pike Road, McFalls Mountain, Sheep Creek. There's a Blue Ridge Parkway. The Peaks of Otter Visitor Center is right up here in the path of this potential tornado. We zoom it back out, you can see how big the hook is. It looks like a small thing on radar, but you get within the radar data and you realize just one pixel covers several blocks of streets there if it was over a rural area. That's the high-res reflectivity. Let's look at the high-res velocity on this particular image, and you can see there's your rotation. So it's in between McFalls Mountain, Campbell's Mountain, and south of Cove Mountain. And we continue with the chance of some hail in that as well. The tornado warning has been issued now for Bedford, BOTETOURT, and now in Rockbridge County until 10:30. So Rockbridge County, you are now in this new tornado warning that's in effect now. This is for the same cell for this area of rotation. So let me zoom it back out. You're going to see another polygon pop up on the screen. We'll go back to our reflectivity here on this image. And I'm going to go back out to this radar. So there's the new polygon. Here's the new radar. You can clearly see the hook there, but your new warning is in effect until 10:15 now. There's your new polygon. So they've updated the polygon that now goes into extreme southern Rockbridge County. All the lightning there, your potential tornado is right there northeast of Montvale, just about to cross over Sharp Top Mountain into BOTETOURT County, and it's showing signs that the rotation is just as strong now as it was when the warning was issued. In fact, it looks even better in some instances here. So this is a very strong indicator of a potential tornado. We look at the correlation coefficient to see if we see anything resembling anything yellow or green within those cranberry colors. but it's got to be within an area of rotation too. It can't just be not Cranberry. It's got to be where we also see rotating areas. And what they may be doing is we're seeing another storm that's producing not just one but 2 or 3 areas of rotation. So they may be painting a bigger area with these areas of circulation, small areas in eddies that often pop up in tropical storms and in tropical systems. But I can actually pick out several of these, and I'm drawing them in for you. That's the big one there. That's the main one. But there are also, you're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 areas just on here. There's a broader area in your big island that hasn't developed into anything, but there are 5, 6 different areas of rotation. The big one is Bedford, Buchanan County right there, and it's moving to the northeast, and that's going to extend the tornado chance now into southern Rockbridge County. There's the Rockbridge County line. So watch out around Glasgow. You're not in the warning officially, but Buena Vista, Glasgow, I think you need to be able to look out a little bit more as we go into the next probably 15 to 30 minutes or so. These storms have a lot of spin along them. So let's see. Okay, the Weather Service has trimmed back the tornado watch for Carroll, Charlotte, the city of Danville, city of Galax, Martinsville City, Radford, Floyd, Franklin, Halifax, Montgomery, Patrick. Basically areas south of this line. They have trimmed away the tornado watch because of the radar showing a clear patch moving in. So basically what they're doing is they're saying that this is the main area along and north that we still anticipate possible tornadic activity. Within this area, through the NRV and through Franklin County and the rest of the area, things have begun to quiet down a little bit. I'm not sure that's the best idea in the world because we have yet to see the circulation pass through the area. You can see a lot of storm reports, and in fact you can see new cells that are popping up in Yadkin County, North Carolina, and the Stokes County. There's certainly some more rain, so the flooding chance is going to continue, and honestly I think that may have been a little premature. We'll see. I certainly can't fault them on, looking at this and saying this is where your better chance of a tornado is, and I agree with that, but I would still keep my guard up all over the area tonight just in case. So here's your latest radar image there. Buchanan, I think you're going to be okay, but it's just going to scrape just south of you. You're seeing a lot of lightning off to the south. There are other areas of rotation that are still just off to your north going into southern Rockbridge County, but they're not concentrated enough where we're concerned about a tornado just yet. The area that we are watching literally is right on the county line of BOTETOURT and Bedford County. There's still a small area of rotation here nearing Montvale from the south. Is there anything with that? Yeah, there's another cell that's popping up, and I want to tell you that even though there's not a polygon for this one, we saw earlier in Montgomery County where you get some more spin that develops just because the same wind is occurring out there in the upper atmosphere and the lower atmosphere that's helping these things to spin up. So here is the tornado warned cell. You've also got a new cell that's starting to spin up here to the south of Montvale, southwest of Montvale. But across the rest of the area now, if you're watching the areas back across the NRV and into the foothills and south side, you've been taken out of the tornado watch for right now. There will be another area of rain and more storms to come tomorrow, though, so we may have a few rounds to go through. This is the first round that's producing all the bad stuff with it tonight. We may get a bit of a break for the late night hours, and maybe we can get some sleep, but not at the moment for the Highlands. This is still a very dangerous situation. Warm Springs, Falling Springs, and Covington, you're in this special weather statement for some gusty winds up to 50 miles per hour and some minor areas of rotation. We've got torrential rainfall as well and some localized flooding areas through the Allegheny Highlands. You can see the oranges on your screen there covering much of Rockbridge County, Goshen, Craigsville, up to Stanton and Waynesboro. There's been a lot of rain in these the mountainous areas of Virginia, North Carolina, and Western Virginia up into the Shenandoah Valley. And I think, with this tropical rain, you're getting rainfall amounts that we've looked at that are way over 4 inches per hour. So that's certainly something of concern. The most concerning right now is the rotation that we're seeing, and I'm highlighting it for you. Several areas of it, and even around the Clifton Forge area, we've got some broad rotation occurring. But right now, near in the Buchanan area, and again, south of Montvale, that looks interesting to me. It's not really closing in on anything major, like in terms of tightening up, but it's definitely, you can see the green, the subtle green, and then the brighter red that's occurring here. And then you've got the brighter oranges, kind of a broader rotation as it's moving over the mountains right there, coming into BOTETOURT County. It's coming out of Bedford County into BOTETOURT County. I see maybe some leaves and stuff being picked up. I don't see any major signs of debris. I'll take you back to, let's move you back into this image. This is showing the latest polygon here. So Blue Ridge, now you're out of the warning. Buchanan, though, you're still in the warning. BOTETOURT County is in the warning. Bedford County, you're still in the warning, but it's close to the county line. You can still see the brighter, the yellow there. That's where the biggest chance of a tornado is. That's where we're seeing the most gate-to-gate shear on the radar, and you can see that we're picking up these smaller areas of gate-to-gate shear up through here, through Lexington and Amherst, north of Amherst and Covington. So that's why the watch has been shaven away, and let me show you that graphically. So the area that you're seeing on your screen that's being flashed, that is where the tornado watch is still in effect for. I just clicked something I shouldn't have, and I've got about 6 or 7 ways of showing you the same thing. I'm trying to get organized here. Pop that back up. There we go. All right, so heavy rainfall in that green area there. There's your tornado warning and live lightning on your screen. And you can see that areas along and north of that boundary are where we're seeing the most gate-to-gate shear being picked up on the radar. You can see where the turbulence is. You see the reds kind of getting, that's elongated rotation that's being picked up within that heavier rainfall. Then you've got the concentrated area right in through there in the Bedford County and BOTETOURT County. And that warning continues again until 10:15, and we'll stay with it as it's a radar indicated warning. We've also got a flash flood warning in effect for Roanoke County, western BOTETOURT County, and Craig County until 3:45, as runoff will be a big issue. There's more gate-to-gate shear being picked up in southern Amherst and southern Nelson County, rather. So it's a multifaceted threat. You've got the heavy rain threat and the tornado threat remaining for Roanoke County, but no longer in effect for, from right now anyway, for Martinsville, Danville, and Southside, also into the mountainous areas of the NRV, Southwest Mountain Empire. We're getting a bit of a break. So the tornado warning has been clipped backwards, back into, and still include the Charlottesville, Stanton area. And I do think this area over the next hour is going to see it get worse before it gets better, especially the I-64 corridor, Stanton, Charlottesville, Lexington, Rockbridge County, Buena Vista, and even the Highland County area should watch this as well. But still seeing plenty of bright colors there on gate-to-gate shear, which is a concern. Lots of lightning, so it's a healthy updraft with this. This is Route 11 right through here. If you travel up and down 81, 11 kind of parallels that, and you can see near Buchanan there still a lot of rotation. Let's see if we can see any hooks or anything on velocity that catches our attention. And we'll show you too. It's kind of visually different. People respond differently to different images. So there's the flash flood warning in effect till 3:45, and there you see not only one cell, but there's another hook echo just south of there, crossing 221 near Montvale. That's got some rotation too. There's no warning out for it or no special weather statement out, but there are two. Chad, we're in Virginia. There are two cells that are spinning here. So let me go back. This one is spinning. It's hard to see a hook in here, but there is some spin in that cell, and there's also some spin down here right over 221. There we could see another warning come out for the exact same area. These are kind of areas of spin that are developing and perhaps enhanced actually by the mountains. There's been some research done about that in the past few years. So heavy rain's a threat. We're also looking at that tornado still a threat for the next 5 minutes or so. No word if they're going to continue that, but I can guarantee you they're watching it frame by frame as we are, because if they do want to continue, it'll probably come out in just a few minutes. You'll see another polygon be issued. I want to make sure we don't have any special weather statements issued as well. They're continuing the tornado warning till 10:30. At 10:10 p.m. a severe thunderstorm capable of producing tornado is located near Arcadia, moving northeast. Now the northeast is valued at 25 miles per hour. We've got a new polygon that's been shaven back. So Bedford County, you are now out of the tornado warning. The first cell. The second cell doesn't have a warning with it yet, but listen up. Montvale, you have a second cell that is starting to increase in rotation, and I don't know if they'll put a warning out for that. I would imagine they might, based on the way they've warned earlier this evening and what we've seen from this rotation. So even though there's not an official warning out for this cell around Montvale and 460 coming out of BOTETOURT County, east of Blue Ridge, watch this cell too. Let's see. I even see some lower correlation coefficient values, kind of a backward C shaped, little backwards hook there. So this is still spinning, and this is the area. It's the eastern part of BOTETOURT County. That's officially in the tornado warning, and again that goes right up to Glasgow. Glasgow officially is not in the warning, but you're getting plenty of lightning, heavy rain, and probably some gusty winds. You can see all the red there on the radar screen. You can see the curl to the radar imagery here that shows us that these storms are indeed spinning. You got a curl there in Montvale. You got a curl here with that warning there. Less of a curl around Glasgow, but a little bit of a curl too into southern Rockbridge County. And again, you're still in the tornado warning right near the county line, near BOTETOURT County, until another 3 minutes. All right. Radar Omega has my new information for me. Fork Mountain in BOTETOURT County, Arcadia. There's your rotation. There's your heaviest rainfall. Let me go to the velocity so we can see it better. It shows up very clearly here. Route 614, Route 608, Solitude. It's right near Munford. There's the George Washington and Jefferson National Forest. Route 614, Route 618, Thomas Mountain, that area. And Route 59, you're in the path of this, Wilson Mountain. N Road, Route 714, Route 620. Near the North Creek Campground. Tornado warning continues. I'll zoom back out here so we don't get too confused on our location. This warning now is in effect until 10:30. I apologize, not 10:15. So we got a little ways to go before we can call this one done, and I'm still seeing plenty of rotation in that area. So let's look up from this too. Again, if you're in BOTETOURT County, in a lowest level of a sturdy building, away from windows, in an interior room or hallway or a bathroom, put pillows over your heads, football helmets on if you can get them, and shelter yourself with as many walls between you and the outside as possible while this passes through. That's on Route 59, Route 782, near the Solitude area, near North Creek Campground on Route 59, near Thomas Mountain. And I'm just going to continue calling out these little places here in hopes that somebody's watching from that area. 782, you're in that zone right where that rotation is. I don't see it super tight on the radar, but we're also looking a little bit higher right off the ground the farther we get away from the Floyd County radar. So there may be something up under this that we're not seeing. The mesocyclone is there. More than likely this is just radar indicated, not on the ground. But given the atmosphere today and the fact that we've had a confirmed tornado in the New River Valley, this is very concerning. You can see still an inflow notch here on the radar picture. This is pixelated, but see that indentation of green? That may not look like a big deal, but that's where the storm is spinning, and the newest image there shows where it's still doing it. On this next image, that's where what we call the inflow notch. So the updraft is going into the supercell like this. The jet stream aloft is hitting it, coming back down the back side of it like this. So where they meet, you've got a forward flank downdraft. That heavier rain is coming down like that. It's almost like a miniature cold front, like a miniature backdoor front, but it's mainly just a wind shift line. And then you've got this warm sector of air that's being brought into it. And then you've got this moist but descending air that's coming into the back side of this thing on the rear flank. All right, now we can show you that like that, but what ends up happening basically is that they all meet up and they meet the updraft, and the updraft kind of takes that streamwise vorticity and pulls it where we can get it to elongate and spin even faster because of that. It makes a skinnier column, and you end up getting an accumulation of that, and that's what gives us a tornado. At least that's what we think. It's still being researched, but when we see this on radar, it's why the National Weather Service has that warning in effect. Route 608, Gray Ledge, Harvey, Springfield, Gilmore Mills. Let's go up in the BOTETOURT, out of BOTETOURT into southern Rockbridge County. And the areas that are in the polygon are Southern Natural Bridge. There is 81, and there's 11 at the top of your screen. Gilmore Mills, Route 130. Natural Bridge Station is right on the edge of the outer part of this warning. Greenlee is just on the edge. Wilson Mountain, Route 781, Cave Mountain. All kinds of mountains I never knew existed. This is pretty cool software if you're trying to figure out locations. If you live on Back Run, 781, Valley Road, 759 in Rockbridge County, shelter now. Also, Furnace Mountain, Hobb Lane, Devil's Marble Yard. A lot of the hiking destinations have been called in these tornado warnings tonight. They're continuing the tornado warning until 10:30. Tornado located near Arcadia, moving northeast at 25 miles per hour. There's Arcadia. There's Fork Mountain, so it's north of there. Still don't have a warning out for this other cell. It may not be quite tight enough for them to pull the trigger on it. We will continue to watch it with the National Weather Service. I've got a chat right over the side here where I can talk to the National Weather Service right on. I don't have to send them an email or anything. They're looking at the screen while we're all looking at the same screen, and I can talk to them and they talk to me and everybody else. We've got the emergency managers on this chat. We've got the other TV stations on this chat. So we're all talking together. It's a really cool feature. And we can at least all communicate on the same way. Somebody wanted to know about Asheville, North Carolina. I'll tell you about that in a second. I'll tell you overall you're going to have more rain moving in, but I don't think you have that much of a severe threat for the rest of tonight. But you have to watch those mountainous areas for flash flooding potential. I know you've seen a lot of rain in western North Carolina. I went to college there, and that's something you're always concerned with. I noticed that, they dropped the tornado warning for this area, but we're seeing a new area of rain develop and potential storms in Carroll County near Mount Airy, right along 77, just east of 77, coming out of Dobson, North Carolina, Pilot Mountain here, Surrey, and Stokes County, Yadkin County. Have to watch that and see if that develops into anything. Our second area of rain, by the way, being picked up by the radar coming out of Asheville. That's why I thought it was a little weird that they dropped the watch for the other areas, but they're smarter than me. They've got more connection with the Storm Prediction Center, and we'll respect what they did there on that watch. The Storm Prediction Center issues the watch. The local weather service is responsible for trimming these watches as they come out. And showing you that, I like to just remind folks of everything that we're looking at here. So let me pull up my NDI again. There's the trimmed tornado watch. And on your screen is the tornado warning. In the central part of your screen, you can see the live lightning data showing up. Gate-to-gate shear is still there. We'll zoom back in. Again, this is radar indicated until 10:30. The brighter colors there, right where we see that live lightning strike. And you can look at it 43, 44 seconds ago. There's your energy and the amount, the area that it contained. Tornado warning for BOTETOURT and Rock Ridge has just been dropped, so they've just dropped that. That's some good news. There's still some rotation in it, though, and there's also some rotation, even though it's not warned, there's some rotation that just moved over the same area of Blue Ridge and Montvale. It's not tight enough for a tornado warning yet, but you're going to see this warning disappear, and you may see another warning tonight, especially in this overall area. So areas that really need to pay the most attention for the rest of tonight are locations that are still under the tornado watch. So if you live in Lynchburg, Farmville, if you live in Chatham, Alta Vista, and to the north, through Harrisonburg, Stanton, Waynesboro, JMU, Covington. And I know you think, well, the Allegheny Highlands, we don't have to worry about that here. Tonight you do. 220 in the Bath County. Very beautiful country up there, but you've got a tornado watch that's still in effect until 3. The next few hours are going to be very touch and go, and the tornado threat will continue through central northern Virginia up to Fredericksburg. The tornado watch continues there, and I do believe that flooding will continue in these areas as well, or will become more of a problem, and that's why you also see the crawling green area there. That's where the Weather Prediction Center is concerned with heavier rainfall that'll be developing. New radar data, by the way, is coming in, and folks want to know what in the world is this area that I've got there in the blue colors. This is the current, the latest significant tornado parameter readings. This is a little delayed on this particular program. I'll jump over to the Storm Prediction Center site as well, but this is where the most spin is in the atmosphere if we had to quantify it and put a number to it. Sometimes it doesn't work out that way, but overall, that's what that looks like. Now I'll show you too the rotational track on this Bedford County storm. Let me get rid of the watch so we don't get too bogged down here with layers. All right. So you can see the path that rotation took. It developed just around the Montvale area. The red areas show you where there was even more rotation that crossed 221 and 460. It moved north into the Blue Ridge Parkway right on the border. And they've dropped the warning now, so that's the good news for now. But then it crossed back over into BOTETOURT County, just missed Buchanan. And what we've been seeing tonight, a fair amount of trees down around these tornado warnings, not necessarily because of rotation, but the downdraft still can produce its own straight line winds. And so you can still get some tree damage that way. Doesn't have to be from a tornado in a situation like we're seeing tonight. That got right up to Rock Ridge County, and like you guys had a wall up in Lexington, it went away. But I caution you that as I put this in motion, we'll let it load here, you can see those increasing values out toward Farmville and Dillon in central Virginia. And as this loads, you will see the rotation move as well. This will really explain why they trimmed the watch back once we get all the imagery to load here. So we'll just wait a second. You'll see the storm reports there around Blacksburg, and then the NRV there come on your screen as well, and then go away. You'll see the polygons that were issued. So we had 2 tornado warnings back to back. Then we had the warning come out for Bedford and BOTETOURT, and we had a new warning above that come out. Now that's gone away, but you can see now that it's almost loaded. It's got a few more frames to load here. We'll still watch it. There went that one batch through the NRV with all the wind damage. We've got some wind damage behind Sharkey's tonight and a few trees down in and around the Blacksburg area. It could have been much worse. And then that second area really got going. So that one area came out of the south. You can see even in Floyd County we had some rotation. And you can see how innocuous it is in northern Franklin County right there. And then it moved into Bedford County, and it really tightened up over Hardy and Bedford County and Vinton. And after that was the tornado warning issuance there that you see. And then you can see how it moved into Lexington. So this gives you a very good visualization of how that one line moved in from the southwest to the northeast. How we saw these showers take that wind shear and make it something they could use to get the spin going. You had one through here, then you had another band kind of hand it off and go through here. So areas now to the southwest are seeing a little bit less in the way of radar activity, but let's examine the newest data that's coming in from this area. Unfortunately, the tornado watch, well, fortunately or unfortunately, I think it may have been a little premature, but that's just my unofficial opinion. And you can see how they trimmed the watch out to not include this area. But look what's happened. South of Mount Airy, we don't have a ton of instability, but we're seeing now around Dobson, Yadkinville, and Harmony, North Carolina, we're seeing a little bit of a jump in significant tornado values again. And we're also seeing radar signatures of very shallow rotation, very weak rotation in this activity that's now popping up on the radar screen through here. Probably not enough to alert you of, other than to say there's still some rotation out there and there's a new area of enhanced potential spin. It's not very high on the scale, it's pretty low, but the trend is back up after, we had that same value when we had the tornado in Blacksburg or near Blacksburg, and now we're getting that value to jump back up again in western North Carolina. So don't think this is over with. Just because that one wave is moving through, there's going to be another wave, at least one or two more that come through later tonight and into the day on Wednesday. And then tomorrow, Wednesday, east of the Blue Ridge toward the Richmond area, there's going to be probably more tornadic activity, at least some severe storms. By and large, though, the most intense activity is going out through Lexington, Buchanan, and for you guys in the Allegheny Highlands, Vesuvius, Stanton, Livingston, Charlottesville as well. And again, you're in the tornado watch as far north as Luray, Virginia, through 3 a.m., Fredericksburg and Farmville. By the way, those higher values of potential rotation do extend east, but the moisture doesn't. So it's kind of where the two combine. Eventually, the moisture will get in here from the southwest. What I wanted to do is go to the Storm Prediction Center page. Sorry, I've got so many windows open. People make fun of me for having. If you're on TikTok, I'm showing you right now what my desk looks like. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and about 13 scanner feeds over there open. So you can watch on multiple platforms and kind of get an idea of what's going on. We do have a new special weather statement out. This is for Central Rockbridge County, Northwest Amherst County, Buena Vista, and Lexington. That's not a warning. It's just saying that through 11 o'clock there's going to be some strong storms in that area. Wind could knock down tree limbs and blow around unsecured objects. Lexington, Buena Vista, Glasgow, Alto, Cornwall, and Roanoke. That's for the storm that's taking up most of the red on the radar screen and producing a fair amount of lightning, again, around Lexington and near Bath County on 220 and Goshen. Glasgow right there, too. Still watching these two stronger cells. Still a bit of a hook there near Glasgow. Wouldn't be surprised if we have to alert you again somewhere in this broad area for a couple of more tornadoes, or tornado warning anyway. Right now, officially, we don't have any warnings out. I'm just telling you that could change. And again, if you're in western North Carolina, I wouldn't let your guard down either. Just saying. There's the radar loop from WeatherTap. So you see this new development down here. This also could be something to watch for potential flash flooding tonight. It's coming in right off the south. It's fairly, minor looking showers, but they come in from the south. Now in Asheville, somebody wanted to know about Asheville, so we're going to take a gander down there. The main batch of moisture is moving into western North Carolina. If you are in Boone or Blowing Rock, areas like that, very steep, some of the steepest terrain. Around Mount Mitchell and 1923 and the new interstate between Johnson City and Asheville. And then the upstate of South Carolina, right where you meet up from Polk County and the North Carolina, Hendersonville, that area, Haywood County floods like crazy when systems like this move in, especially tropical nature. So I do think your flooding potential is going to continue tonight. Not quite sure about the severe potential. I do see some heavier cells in here that we'll probably have to watch. Your instability is going to be somewhat limited. That'll probably help you out some in terms of not seeing as much spin get realized, but still I would watch the potential for some severe weather, mainly flash flooding, but you never can discount severe weather with a landfalling tropical storm or a tropical system that's already made landfall. Go to our SPC page. By the way, this is free data that you can go to the Storm Prediction Center, and if you know how to read it, you can do a lot with it, actually. The current analysis looks pretty good. I'm looking at wind shear at the surface, and we still have a lot of wind shear, both speed and directional shear. So right above the surface, right at the surface, you've got mainly southeast winds coming in, but then you go a little bit up in the atmosphere, about a few thousand feet up, and the winds start howling in out of the south. So you're doing something like this, and that creates a sideways roll. And when you have something to lift it, like the tropical system and a boundary, you get that roll to tilt, and then you can pinch that tilt and make it smaller, and that's when you get these little vortices that develop, and you call it a tornado if it gets to the ground. But over the past 4 hours, this low-level jet has enhanced the 1 kilometer shear. If you go up to 3 kilometers, it's even over a larger area. So yeah, Asheville and South Carolina, Charlotte area, Greensboro Triad, still looking at a fair amount of wind shear in the lowest 3 kilometers. And you look at the 6 kilometer wind shear, it's a little bit lower, but it's still pretty significant, above 30 knots. Significant tornado parameter. I wanted to show you where it's not, but where it is. And you can see little dashed arrows, very low amounts, but we've seen warnings in this. Look at the new area here in North Carolina. Again, I'm not sure why they shaved away that watch that fast. I'm still worried about North Carolina, just in case. LCL heights, it's hard to read these, but these are the green dashed areas. That's how high in meters is the cloud base off the ground. And around here in the Carolinas and in Virginia, if you get LCLs below 1500, you're looking at a better chance of getting that spin down to the ground. Now, we've got LCLs that are as low as 1,000, all the way down to 750 to 500 meters because of the tropical air. That's why we saw that video earlier. It wasn't very high off the ground, that tornado. And if you don't have as far of a distance to get the spin down to the ground, it's easier. It's that much easier to get the spin down on and make it a tornado. So higher amounts, like toward Raleigh and east, you can see 1,500 meters of LCL. That means your storm base is going to be higher and not as conducive. So more conducive here off to the west and in the mountains. Let's see, what else do we look at here? This is in blue. That's the that's the storm relative helicity. So that's coming into the mountains, and I wanted to also see the instability. I'm getting a little technical with you here, but I want you to see what we look at. This is the one, most unstable lifted indices. So this kind of visually also shows you what's going on. Winds at the surface or a little bit closer to the surface are coming in the red from the southeast, like that. And then if you go up a little bit, see those blue values there coming in out of the southwest. And then the low is back here. This is your tropical system. So the winds are blowing into the center of that by friction. You get a little bit farther off the ground, there's not as much friction, but you get the turning of wind. with height, and that's when you get your potential tornadic activity. I'm also looking at the areas that are in green and in yellow and in orange. That's where we have instability in the air, and it's these values here that are still conducive for rising air because we just have so much moisture in the air. You can look at the amount of water several ways, but this is one of them. Precipitable water values are up around 1.8 to 2 inches. That means if you took all the water in the air above your head out, how much rain would you get in your rain gauge? And you would get close to 1.8 to 2 inches at any given time. That shows you that you just got a lot of tropical, a lot of buoyant air in place. And we're still looking at a fair amount of transport in from the south because the center of the system is still off to the west and in the Tennessee. So I know we're nowhere near done, maybe with that particular batch of storms pushing out of the area. Now coming into Lexington, you're getting hit hard in Rockbridge County, but nowhere near done with the severe threat, in my opinion, for the rest of us tonight. We've got a new flood advisory that's in effect. Let's see, this is the tornado watch here. Let's see if I can get the flood advisory up. That's basically where the cell tracked. We got a new flood advisory. It's in effect until 1:45 in the morning because we've seen several inches of rain in here. So this area, that didn't show up very well, did it? Let's see. This is our new flood advisory, Glasgow, Buchanan, same area that we had the tornado warning earlier. It's put down so much rain that we've now got a flood advisory in effect. Off to the west here, we've also got a larger flood advisory that includes actually Boone's Mill and all of Roanoke, Salem, and Vinton. This flood advisory is in effect for a good part of the night. That includes Newcastle, Craig County, Charlottesville, eastern Montgomery County, Roanoke, all the way into southwest BOTETOURT County. So there's your other flood advisory. And then we've got another flood advisory for the NRV all the way down to Floyd, Blacksburg, Christiansburg. This area also experiencing some runoff issues. And I've got the scanners on. I've been listening to them. You can see they're very busy with trees. Sometimes with the water issues, you start to get trees that fall over just because of the soggy ground. I've had a few of those reports coming in. I don't know where there are exactly, but I just have all the frequencies turned on just so I can hear them out of North Carolina and Virginia. I can tell you there's a few little road closures out there. There's going to be some debris on the road too. Hopefully nothing too serious, but again, watching upstream development now. Also, letting you know that we've got wind advisories in effect for the mountains of North Carolina and Virginia due to gusty winds over 25, 35 miles per hour. Add to that soggy ground. With Ida coming through still tonight and tomorrow, some things will be toppling over out there. But you can see some very heavy rainfall out here. It's narrow, but it's getting a little heavier from Mount Airy in the Gladesboro, Willis and Floyd County, Pike City. It's about to rain again in Willis. Copeland, Surrey County, North Carolina. That's a thin area of rain, but it's not giving up. This is behind the main line redevelopment coming in. And in fact, somebody from another station's on chat here asking the Weather Service what they think about that new area that's starting to develop. And then off to the southwest, you've got, let me go to GSP real quick. To the southwest, you still got this area of rain that's coming in. And get rid of the roads. This area of rain coming out of Anderson, South Carolina, Greenville. It's being picked up by the radar out there. That was better on gray, wasn't it? This is a new area. Or another area that still has to move through the area, the rest of the local area, Southwest Virginia, Charlotte, North Carolina, Hickory, North Carolina. This is going to be going through during the night tonight. So I don't think we're done completely with this threat, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see some more warnings or at least some special statements coming out as that moves in. Put that in motion. So this is a neighboring radar, but folks are asking about that area. You see that includes Asheville and Bristol area. No warnings out for that area right now. They'd pop up if it was, but for areas that are in Virginia, we're watching the potential there. Looks like we do have a tornado warning now. This is coming out of the Sterling office, so let me go to the radar and look at this. Tornado warning out, 2 of them. So we're about to, pardon me while I switch back over here. We'll get reset. Two new tornado warnings, Nelson County, Virginia. Nelson County, Virginia, you are under a tornado warning. This is, I had to switch over to the National Weather Service in Sterling for this because they pick up the coverage there. Let me go over on chat to that office. That's until 11:15 Eastern and 11 respectively. So the one on the left is until 11:15. The polygon on the right, north of Scottsville, not including Charlottesville, but just south of Charlottesville, is in effect until 11 o'clock. So let's read them here for you. And while I do that, you see there, what's that, Schuler, Coesville, east of Shipman. This is Albemarle County here, nearing the Batesville area out of Coesville, and then north of Esmont, Alberine, just south of Charlottesville is where we've got some rotation here. If we go to our base velocity product, these are coming out a different direction relative to the radar, so they're not going to look as red as they are green. Now keep in mind the radar is still a fair bit away, but we're right in between radars. We're kind of in a no man's land here. So we're looking at the mid-levels of the storms. We're looking at 10,000, 11,000 feet up. But the Sterling Weather Service office being very proactive and saying, listen, we've seen the rotation. We've got the values that are high on shear. We just saw it ourselves, right, on the Storm Prediction Center page. And what they're doing is they're going ahead and putting these warnings out because there's no way to tell unless you've got a good spotter in the area if these are getting down to the ground. But we'll read this to you. The National Weather Service in Sterling has a tornado warning out for northeastern Nelson County and southwestern Albemarle County until 11:15 p.m. Yeah, Harrisonburg, 5 to 8 inches of rain up in Pennsylvania. It's going to be pretty bad up there flood-wise. See a lot of gate-to-gate shear, though, near 29 there. If you go out of Nelson County at 10:39, that was about 4 minutes ago, a severe thunderstorm warning capable of producing a tornado is located near Schuler, or 16 miles north of Bent Creek, moving north at 25 miles per hour. It's radar indicated, but for those in the path here of a tornado touchdown, if you're in the path of that, obviously flying debris is going to be dangerous to anyone caught without shelter. You get damage to roofs, siding, and windows. Mobile homes will be damaged or destroyed if this gets on the ground. Tree damage is likely. This is a tornado warning. Other locations impacted by the tornadic thunderstorm include Coesville, Faber, and Rockfish. Move to a basement or an interior room on the lowest floor of a sturdy building in Nelson County, Virginia, and Albemarle County, Virginia. Avoid windows. If you're outdoors in a mobile home or in a vehicle, move to the closest substantial shelter and protect yourself from flying debris. Don't wait on the tornado. Don't go out and try to find it. You're not going to see it at night, and it's probably going to catch you before you catch it. A lot of people are killed that way. They wait around to confirm it, and it's a natural human reaction to want to do that. I would probably try to do it myself, being a meteorologist, but it's not safe to do that. Route 6, Route 20, in this area, seeing the tornado warning and the strongest gate-to-gate shear. And just to give your bearings, let me zoom back out. So you see that entire area? We were just talking about how the tornado watch is still in effect for a good part of Virginia until 3 in the morning. And right smack in the middle of that, you see the higher Storm Prediction Center mesoanalysis areas of the significant tornado parameter that's up there elevated. And let's see if this wants to cooperate with me. My poor WSB3. I worked the heck out of it. We've got another tornado warning that's just been issued now. This is that other cell we were watching now north of Glasgow and Lexington. So we've got a new one. If you've just been watching us, this is a brand new tornado warning that's in effect until 11:15 for another 30 minutes. We've got this in effect until 11:15. This is for Buena Vista, Rockbridge County, and Amherst County. Buena Vista, Cornwall, Alto, Fairfield, Roanoke, Brownsburg, and Vesuvius. This is radar indicated. So now we've got 3 tornado warnings, one issued by Blacksburg that is approaching Buena Vista. Buena Vista, take cover right now. This one is looking pretty serious on the radar. There's a fair amount of rotation that's kicked up just in the past 4 to 5 minutes. So take the watch out so you can see. I've got satellite data that kind of shows me the heavily populated areas, but you can see on the south end of Buena Vista, you are in danger of this tornado, and you need to be getting to your safe place in Buena Vista right away. If you live in any of these areas right near the James here, and we can zoom into this area and see all the homes and the city blocks, or the town blocks. Start to lose it if we zoom in too fast. That's a heavily populated area in relative terms. It's also a low-lying area near the river there, but you are in a tornado warning. You can see that the rotation's in yellow and in gray, and it's moving to the north and to the east at about, let's see what the motion was again. That was at 30 miles per hour, so it's going to be moving pretty fast. But hey, this also does not include Lexington, but does include Fairfield and Brownsburg in this area. So it's a good part of Rockbridge County that's in this polygon. Now, if you look to the east, we just have one warning out now still for northern Nelson County and southwestern Albemarle County. That's also in effect until 11:15. So there are 2 tornado warnings in effect. If I back this picture back out, you can see how these warnings are being issued on the front edge of the higher values that are shown on your screen of where we're seeing potential rotation in the broader scale of the atmosphere. There's also now near Buchanan another cell that is producing a fair bit of rotation near Buchanan. There's not a warning out for that one just yet, but watching that very carefully. The flood advisory for Radford, Craig, Floyd, Montgomery County has been extended through 1 o'clock. So driving late at night through the Roanoke Valley and New River Valley areas, yeah, you're going to see some flooding, and it's going to be hard to, almost impossible to see that at night. That's a big danger that we always worry about with these type of events. So let's see, let me do this. Go back over here. And you can see near Buena Vista, this is off the Sterling radar. We're looking up into the storm, but we've got a fair bit of storm relative rotation and a lot of lightning around Lexington. We've got a special weather statement in effect there for gusty winds up to 40 to 50 miles per hour. We've also got a special weather statement out for Buchanan. I'm going to go back to the Floyd County radar, so give it a second while it loads here. So this is the troubled area near I-81 north of the Roanoke Valley, north of Big Island. Ooh. Sorry, that's a lot of rotation. It's not quite as tight as it could be, but it's hard to say being that far away from the radar. Let me get a new storm motion on this. That's a nasty looking storm in Buena Vista. Again, take cover there and to the north of Buena Vista in Rockbridge County. You put a marker on this. I'll go like that. Measure from marker. Lexington got a strong storm, but we've got a lot of strong rotation. Probably a mesocyclone and probably a lowering, maybe a funnel cloud or something like that in and around Buena Vista. What could be a tornado. This is 64 here. It's about to cross 64. So I hope anybody that's riding along and their phones are going off on Interstate 64, I hope that you pull over and get into a ditch. Or if you're near a shelter like a convenience store and you can get inside a cooler or something, do that. But don't try to ride this out in your car or run away from it. That's way too dangerous. That's a lot of lightning. And we've also seen some convergence and some rotation too around Pioneer River and Massey's Mill. I had to watch that area. That's near mountain range there. No warning out for that area just yet, but the tornado warning still continues now for Nelson County and southwest Albemarle County. That continues until 11:15. It's a dangerous storm that will continue moving out of the Schuler area toward Covesville. And this is approaching I-64. 3 cells, really 4 or 5. Again, we've had this trend all night as we look at spin in the atmosphere. This one around Buchanan has a special weather statement. Again, we go back and you can see that right here we had some pretty impressive spin. Put the marker right there. That was wind that was blowing toward the radar in Floyd County. You've got to know where your radars are when you're spotting these things, because that's everything. Everything's relative to the radar. But that spin was right there east of Buchanan. A special weather statement was put out to cover that, so you would be alerted to it. But then it held together there. And that could have produced something on the ground, honestly. But then as it moved, it's moving now into northern BOTETOURT County, southern Rockbridge County. There's no warning out for it, but there's a special weather statement saying, hey, listen, we still have a tornado watch. We're going to keep an eye on this one. We're also going to keep an eye on this one around Big Island. There are actually, again, several areas that, not just one area of rotation, several. There's one here. There's one down here, the one we just looked at. And the big one is over Buena Vista. This one also happens to have a lot of lightning with it. That's a sign of a healthy thunderstorm, basically. There's some broad rotation around Fairfield and around Lexington, very broad, very kind of strung out, rotation. But there's some stronger rotation, I think, near Massey's Mill and Piney River. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 areas of rotation. One leading area of rotation that's caused the tornado warning to be issued here for Rockbridge County. So Vesuvius, Fairfield, you're in the path of this potential tornado. Clear some of my drawing here. Oh. Going to be a busy night. Tornado watch was officially trimmed back to not include parts of North Carolina, but I don't know if that's going to end up verifying. I think maybe we'll have some more activity to watch as Mother Nature is going to do what it's going to do regardless of the watch or warning, honestly. So I'm going back in here tight again. 10:53, they're going to continue the tornado warning for Amherst, Buena Vista, Rockbridge County. At 10:53, a severe thunderstorm was capable of producing a tornado over Buena Vista, moving north at 25 miles per hour. Buena Vista, Cornwall, Fairfield, Brownsburg, Vesuvius, Alto, and Roanoke. Take cover now. You can see the special weather statements are in light blue. and the tornado warnings are in red. There are 2 tornado warnings and 2 special weather statements now. We are looking at Central Virginia. And I'm hopping over to Sterling. The Albemarle County tornado warning has been canceled. That's why it's dropped off there. But the other one's been continued until 11 for another 6 minutes. So the one on the right, this guy here, this is in effect until 11. This one right here is in effect until 11:15. And we're still watching these 2 cells near Natural Bridge Station. Movements up to the northeast at about 20 miles per hour on each of these. Buena Vista, you may get another strong cell. We've seen this happen many times. The tornadic cell moves through, and then a strong cell that also has some rotation moves in right after it. So if you're in a safe place, hopefully you are, you need to hunker down for the majority of the storm that you hear outside, because there's some additional cells that are coming in right behind the original cells. And that's just a sign of so much moisture and turning in the atmosphere. One of our most impressive setups for tornadoes that I've seen in this area from a tropical storm, especially at this hour of night. It makes it that much dangerous, that much more dangerous. We'll go put our, let's look at our velocity one more time. Want to keep, always check your radar products, always keep going back over, seeing what's going on. So Stewartsburg, Enderley Heights, Racy Acres, this is in the Buena Vista area. Our tornado, if we have it there, is near Route 60, just to the southeast of Stewartsburg, or perhaps in Stewartsburg. And we're zooming in even more here to South Magnolia Avenue, JJ's Meat Shack, West 29th Street, King Sports Arena, Southern Virginia University, East 29th Street, downtown Buena Vista, Glen Morey Park, Morey River Road. That's the Morey River, not the James I mentioned earlier. There's a food line this is very close to as well. Shenandoah Valley Healthcare, the hospital there. Rockbridge Avenue. Now a new scan's come in, so we're going to zoom back out. It looks a little bit weaker rotation-wise, but still the polygon's out, so we'll respect the polygon. You should be taking cover in Riverside, Mountain View, Whites Peak. And the rotation's a little weaker, but it's still over Buena Vista in more of an elongated fashion. And now on the north side of Buena Vista, if you get outside of Buena Vista on 631 on Jordan Road, you may have some strong winds, you may have a tornado. You've got the warning out that's still in effect for the area until 11:15. What's that? Woolbine Avenue, Long Hollow Road. You are in the tornado warning. Cornwall, Midvale, Donaldsburg as well. Now that's taking it way up to the north. And just to show you, though, you still got these special weather statements for the broader rotating cells that are coming through Springfield, Red Mills. There's also some rotation north of Snowden and just to the east of Balcony Falls. Go back to our NDI. I want to show you just kind of an overview here. You can see the 2 polygons, both until 11:15 now. A very skinny tornado warning in effect for Albemarle County, Nelson County until 11:15 on 29, where 29 meets Route 6, west of Scottsville, southwest of Charlottesville. Greater Charlottesville, you do want to be kind of weather aware and have your safe place ready to go in case this cell redevelops closer to you over the next half hour or so. East of Lexington, Buena Vista, this area right here had a very impressive rotational area over it just about 5 or 10 minutes ago. It's still there in an elongated sense. The tornado warning does continue, as you see by the scrolling text there. That's Rockbridge County, and again, that's a good part of Rockbridge County. It goes all the way up to the Augusta County line there near Route 252. There's a secondary cell that's got a little more rotation on 501. near Glasgow, but there's no warning for that. There is a special weather statement. But you can see the areas, I was just showing you that a second ago. You can see a little bit of a broader rotational area, and actually this is a little bit stronger overall. It's just not as close together. And then there's a weaker area right through there, and there's a couple areas through here where we're seeing some what we call gate-to-gate shear. So even though there's not a warning, doesn't mean the National Weather Service isn't watching all of these areas very carefully for the potential to put out more tornado warnings. And in fact, there's a brand new one that's been issued until 11:30 from the Sterling National Weather Service office. So 11:30, a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado is located over Schuler. That's this one right here. And that now includes the west side of Scottsville, Virginia. It's 18 miles southwest of Charlottesville, moving northeast at 25 miles per hour. For those in the path of a direct tornado touchdown, we're looking at flying debris possibly being very dangerous. It's going to be mainly over rural areas of east central Nelson County and southwestern Albemarle counties, including the following locations: Esmont, Glendower, Keene, Overton, Aberreen, Damon, Woodridge, and Scottsville. Take cover now. Move to a basement or an interior room in the lowest floor of a sturdy building if you are under one of these tornado warnings. This is until 11:15 now for southwest Albemarle County. We still have until 11 or 11:30 there. 11:15 we still have east of Lexington, north of Buena Vista, a tornado warning that's in effect until 11:15. And honestly, Buena Vista, you still are close enough to that secondary cell that I would be remaining in my safe space as well. There's also some overall rotation kind of near Waynesboro. Remember, the area in this bigger area, that's getting late, is under a tornado watch until 3 o'clock. And the area in the green is being monitored for heavier rainfall and possible flooding. Flash flood threat continues. A lot of water in the atmosphere, and we could exceed the flash flood guidance in that area there through Covington and through the Greenbrier Valley of West Virginia. Let me go back to my Gibson Ridge software here because we do have an active tornado warning. And I do not like the look of this new cell. So the one over Buena Vista has weakened somewhat, but the one south of Buena Vista that the special weather statement was in effect for has strengthened. Right there on that scan, it was pretty strong just a second ago. Do not let your guard down outside of these warnings because these are spinning up so fast. They're encountering the wind shear of the same areas, and we're getting new cells that are developing. So we may see a new polygon issued. We may see an extension of a warning. I'm not quite sure, but near Massey's Mill, Schuler, these kind of jump out at you, right? Let me show you this. So you see right there where the red meets the green, there's even some blue in there, so that's pretty strong. This area in Nelson County, in my opinion, needs to be put under a warning. North and west of Livingston and north of Piney River. We'll see if they do that. If that continues, they're probably waiting to see if it tightens a little bit. South of Buena Vista, you're getting a lot of lightning all of a sudden, and you've got that second cell moving in. So Buena Vista, I would take this just as seriously as the first one. That looks pretty impressive to me. A lot of lightning jumping out ahead of this. That sometimes is a sign of a lot of wind blowing up into the storm and getting that storm to spin even faster. See a slight lowering of correlation coefficient. Not sure. It's not very tight. The radar, though, is overshooting a lot of, if there is something on the ground, the radar is shooting over it. That's another reason why I'm concerned, because there could be something up and under this. So yeah, the tornado warning doesn't include where the cell is. The cell, the stronger one right now, you saw the special weather statements just go away too. They're probably going to put out some more here in a second, I would think. This is the town of Buena Vista. Then as you go That is that 501? That's the Blue Ridge Parkway. Okay. So right near the Parkway, some strong wind at least. I mean, Parkway there, we're at about 6,000 feet. So right off the Parkway, we've got 80 knot winds. Some pretty strong wind. That pixel there, it's pretty strong. It's 60 knots or so. That'll take some trees down in a straight line fashion anyway. And now north of Massey's Mill, still do have some rotation there. And believe it or not, near I-81 in Rockbridge County, I'm watching another area of rotation with this other cell that's to the northwest of Natural Bridge Station. There are several cells that are spinning. The most intense cells, there are 3 of them. There's one just to the south of Buena Vista. There's another one to the northwest of Livingston, and then there's this one that has a tornado warning until 11:30. Radar indicated all of these until 11:30 for southwest Albemarle County, and just a ton of lightning with that one too. Going back into Buena Vista here, I don't like to look at that. I don't like to look at that blue and red next to that green like that. That makes me kind of worried. That was, rewind the tape here, so to speak. You can see the original warning right there, right? Watch the second one. Boom, there's the second one. So I believe what they did is they kept the polygon going to just account for the second cell. Go in the chat and make sure everything makes sense here. Don't have anything from the Weather Service in terms of what they're talking about there, but I definitely can probably figure out just from looking at where that rotation is and where the stronger cells are. This is an area that we want to watch. And again, I'm watching another cell now that's developing south of Lexington. If you live in Lexington, you're not officially in a tornado warning, but listen, this cell's starting to hook a little bit, and that's starting to curl. And you can even see the, let me take off the smoothness here. Starting to see some more rotation develop very quickly. There's a curl here to the southwest of Lexington. It's moving toward Lexington. There's another one over Buena Vista. There's another one north of Buena Vista. And there's a pretty distinct curl there north of Massey's Mill as well. Both warnings are being continued, but I think we may see more warnings coming out here very shortly. Lightning continues coming in the Buena Vista, just a tremendous amount of rain. And looking upstream, we have more development now in the Franklin County and Bedford County. We've also got some heavier, broader rainfall and rainfall amounts starting to come in between 3.5 and 4.5 inches in the Knoxville, Tennessee, where we had the corridor of the heaviest rainfall with Ida coming through during the day today. That's going to be moving through the rest of the area in Virginia and North Carolina tonight and into tomorrow. (11:08) Eastern right now. I'm looking at storms in BOTETOURT County near Fincastle, in between Fincastle and Buchanan. But I'm looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rotating storms near I-64. Appreciate all the follows on TikTok, by the way. Thank you so much. Didn't know if that would work or not. How do you do weather on TikTok? Well, I just went live, and turns out it populates it pretty good. So if I can get to more people that aren't on Facebook or not watching television in their area, then I'll do it to save lives. This is what I do as a meteorologist. some crazy names here if you zoom on in, but this is the cell I'm watching in southwest Albemarle County, near Route 6, Tillman's, Damon, Old Dominion, Schuler, Bungletown, Powell Corner, Take Shelter, Route 717, and Route 6, Esmont, Browntown, and Glendover. Take cover there, Tapscott. Now off to the west in Buena Vista, still look at that rotation, but it's not quite as impressive. It's still there around Buena Vista. This is from a second cell that includes Buena Vista. That's why they've left up this polygon that includes western Amherst County, extreme western Amherst County, but going into Rockbridge County, Brownsburg, Mountain View, Jamestown, Fairfield, still under the tornado warning. They're continuing that until 11:15. Tornado, if it's there, is moving northeast at 25 miles per hour. We've got flash flooding that's still taking place in some areas, flash flood warnings anyway. Show you the regular radar picture here. You've got new cells that are popping up in BOTETOURT County. These may begin spinning. There's now an aerial flood advisory that's been issued for Amherst County, Rockbridge County. So not only are you under a tornado warning, but you're now under a flood advisory because all that heavy rain right there is putting down a lot of water in a very short amount of time. And you can look at the digital accumulation array here, give us an idea of how much rain we've got. We'll turn on our inspector. 1, 2, let's see, Mechanicsville's had about 1.5, 1.6. These tend to be a little on the low side, nearing in on probably 2 inches of rain. Storm total precip. Yeah, near 2 inches there around Buena Vista. That's a lot of rainfall. Then you go down here across Newcastle, where the flash flood warning is in effect, and we've had over 3 inches of rain in some spots. And we mentioned there would be about 1 to 4 inches of rain, but it would depend on where the band's set up, and that's what I mean. You know, you look down here across Franklin County, and there's less than 1/10 of an inch. You go up across Roanoke, and there's about 1/4 of an inch. You get up into 311, as soon as you get into Catawba, you may encounter some running water over the roadways when you didn't have anything up the road at your house. So that's a dangerous situation at night. Amounts here over 3 inches. Probably because it's tropical air, the radar is underdoing some of this. It correlates it a bit differently for tropical air. But you're honing in on about 3 to 4 inches in that blue shaded and yellow shaded area through Craig County, northwest Roanoke County, Virginia. So on your morning commute tomorrow from Catawba, as you head into Salem or Roanoke or close to the interstate, be advised on those back roads especially. There's going to be some debris and some flooding out there, possibly ongoing. We've also seen around Buena Vista amounts over 2 inches here. That's from the flooding, and the flash flood threat still continues. Flash flood watch for the area through late Wednesday. Storm relative velocity still showing that area of rotation. I know you guys are getting tired of it around Buena Vista, but it's not going away just yet. And still there. Don't know why Livingston or Nelson County has not been put in a warning, but okay, and near Ramsey, I'd still watch that area. South of Charlottesville is still looking pretty intense to me in terms of rotation. North of Schuler, Esmont, Keene, Glendover, and southeast Albemarle County. You see a lot of lightning there on the screen as well. Again, that's always a sign of some intense updraft activity within the storm. See very high reflectivities here. We're shooting into the mid-levels of the storm. Route 631 and 29 is where we have this possible tornado. Route 717, Secretary Sand Road. We've also got a new warning. Now, the one I just told you about that I was surprised there wasn't a warning for, they just put one out. So let's go to it. This is a severe thunderstorm warning until midnight. It's in yellow because it's a severe thunderstorm warning, but it's tagged with tornado possible, and that's why I've got this software so it'll show up. But you can see the possible rotation with this one too. This is, if you go out of Amherst and Nelson County, it's in western Nelson County, just scraping Stewart's draft and getting up closer to Stanton, Charlottesville, that general area. And there's now there's that purple crawling area there. That's a new discussion sent out by the Storm Prediction Center, where they're watching the potential for more tornadic activity, or just updating us on the chance of severe weather. So about another 60 seconds, we're going to find out if this warning in Rockbridge County is allowed to drop or if it continues. I'm going to head over to the RNK chat. That's been allowed to drop. Okay. It's always good when things happen right as you're saying them. So that's been allowed to expire. The stronger storms are now developing closer into Waynesboro and Charlottesville. Don't get me wrong. We could see this ramp back up too. It's just not rotating as much into Rockbridge County just yet. That could change. Even being picked up now by some of my automated cyclone detection there on the radar, where you see that area of spin there being picked up by the software. Ooh, and I see why. It just updated, and you can see all that gate-to-gate shear here. Till 11:30 now, still for southwest Albemarle and east central Nelson County. And now until midnight for Waynesboro, a severe thunderstorm warning. We haven't seen many severe thunderstorm warnings. They've been all tornado warnings. Just east of Buena Vista for folks in Rockbridge County, no warning, but still a fair amount of high wind right there on the parkway. That could be putting down some trees in and around that area, and it could just be straight line wind, but that's a lot of lightning, and that's a fair amount of rotation still in that area. It's just not quite low enough to the ground, or they can't discern it, with the radar beam shooting into the 6,000 foot range of the atmosphere. That still looks very strong to me. I don't know. I would not let my guard down northeast of Buena Vista. Well, Buena Vista itself may be okay. In fact, as I say that, they just put out Roanoke, Blacksburg just put out a strong thunderstorm statement, basically a special weather statement until 11:45 that we'll see pop up here in the kind of a gray color in just a second. But we'll go ahead and read it off the screen here. Gust up to 50 miles per hour possible with this, and that's what they're looking at. That strong wind right there. Alto, Cornwall, Fairfield, and Vesuvius, same area. Torrential rainfall occurring. The storm may intensify, so continue to monitor, folks like myself, for more information on that if it gets issued. Another warning. Go back to the main chat. The tornado warning is continuing for Albemarle County until 11:40. They've shaved back the polygon a bit. Go back to the actual radar. There's Esmont. And this is off the Blacksburg radar. So there's really no good radar for this area, unfortunately. Charlottesville, we're going to go. Let me open up another instance of this software. And we'll just have both radars up at one time. This program is 3D, so it takes all of the scans of the radar, which means it just eats a lot of bandwidth up when it downloads. But in severe weather, it's worth it to be able to look at that. Waynesboro, again, you're included until midnight for the severe thunderstorm warning. And again, there's our special weather statement for the rotating cell near Fairfield, Vesuvius, Buena Vista. Still a very strong cell here. And remember, your tornado watch continues in effect for that area and the entire area until 3 a.m. It's been shaving back a little bit from North Carolina, but I would still watch the entire area just in case tonight. Charlottesville getting hit very hard with the storm that's north of the warned storm. I'm looking at some of these products aloft to see if I can see any rotation. There's still some strong rotation near Ismont. It may be becoming more outflow dominant. That's pretty strong. And there's Charlottesville and Rio as well. There's some heavier rainfall in that. There's your polygons. So you can see kind of a simplified view here. Ton of lightning on 29 as you approach Charlottesville. Quite the light show. But it's not just a show tonight, it's the real deal. Take it seriously. There's one cell again. It's in northwest Amherst County, far eastern Rockbridge County. And then your two warnings. We've got a tornado possible with this severe thunderstorm warning. That's in effect. That includes Waynesboro, Route 340, Highway 340. And 29 there as you go into Waynesboro. There's some lightning just popped up a few seconds ago. Pretty strong strike there. Here's some rotation still being picked up gate-to-gate shear on the radar. Route 20 coming out of Scottsville, east of 29. 29's getting all the lightning on it, so it's just very dangerous to try to drive in that. If you're in the car, you're okay because the cage basically takes the energy around you. As long as you don't get out and put your foot on the ground to become the ground, the current will run through the car frame and not you. So car is actually not the worst place to be in lightning. You just don't want to touch the ground at the same time. That little trough, that little brown line means a lot. It's where we've seen winds coming out of the northeast meeting winds coming out of the southwest. So we'll put our METARs on. These are actual observations. And it's always important to look at the actual observations to see what is happening with the wind. You can see, and I know it's a little hard to tell, but let me show you this. All right, so where we had action earlier, just look at the Radford-Blacksburg Airport, the Blacksburg, Virginia Tech Airport. Wind's coming in out of the east. All right. I'm not reporting much wind up here, but see Lewisburg's out of the northeast. We've got an easterly wind here. We can infer streamlines coming in like this, north of this little boundary. You look down across Greensboro, and you see winds coming in out of the southwest. Winds coming in out of the southwest, or I'm sorry, out of the southeast, meeting winds coming out of the northeast. So we can infer a flow that looks like this. And that creates kind of a zipper effect, all right? So you've got some inherent spin right along that brown line there. So when storms run up against that, they can start spinning. Then you've also got the microkinematics that get the updrafts and downdrafts meeting each other and countering the shear and all that stuff that can get us into a potential tornadic situation. So you've got until 11:30 still for the next 7 minutes. Radar indicated possible tornado in Albemarle County, Virginia, and possible severe thunderstorm, at least likely severe thunderstorm, enough for the warning there in yellow in Waynesboro. Tornado possible with this. So this may get upgraded. Nothing new on chat. Again, this is a frustrating area to try to look for severe weather because so many times it's right in between the Blacksburg radar and the Sterling radar. We've got another tornado warning. This now does include Charlottesville. So Charlottesville, you are now in a tornado warning until midnight. At 12:23, we've got a thunderstorm producing a possible tornado 9 miles south of Charlottesville, moving northeast at 25 miles per hour. Charlottesville, you're in the path of this. Flying debris could be dangerous to those caught without shelter. Damage to roofs, siding, and windows may occur in Charlottesville. The arrival time in Charlottesville, 11:50. So we're giving you a 26-minute heads up. Other locations impacted by the possible tornado: Boyd Tavern, Monticello, Keswick, Keene, Overton, Shadwell. Take cover now. This is a new tornado warning that has been issued for Charlottesville and UVA. It's for this cell that came out of this area earlier, just a few minutes ago. It's about to expire, and you can see the rotation's ramped back up there in the blue meeting the green. You've also got that elongated rotation, another like weaker area up around Charlottesville. We were just saying, if you're in Charlottesville, to hunker on down. This is a dangerous looking storm, and our radar products are still picking up a lot of gate-to-gate shear in this area. Go back to our NDI. So this includes mainly the southern and eastern areas of Charlottesville, but most of Charlottesville. Route 53 is in that as well. That is extremely tight rotation popping up there in Charlottesville. You see how that's the brightest we've seen all night. Those are 2 pixels that are right next to each other. They're showing us a lot of gate-to-gate shear, and that's why the Sterling Weather Service office pulled the trigger on that pretty fast. So it's Route 53, Route 20, Highway 250 under this tornado warning, as well as 22 in eastern Albemarle County. So if you're in Charlottesville, could be the real deal, folks. A lot of lightning with this. Very dangerous storm. Let's go to our Radar Omega app. We've still got a special weather statement out, by the way, for Raffine and northeastern Rockbridge County. Still some heavier rain down across BOTETOURT County. We're going to switch radar sites on our Radar Omega app. All right. Looking at some of the firefighters reporting here too. Reporting some rotation. I'm not sure what he was trying to say on chat. He's in Scottsville. There you see Overton. This is again Charlottesville, and Oak Hill. The tornado, if it's there, looks like it's close to Keene. Marshall Manor, Overton, Redland, 627, Route 631, Highway 20, Patterson Mountain, and this also includes in Charlottesville, Greenfields, Locust Grove, Belmont, Westview Terrace, Mill Creek, Southwood Estates Home Park, Rockbrook Village Square, Franklin, Story Point Road, Martha Jefferson Hospital in Charlottesville. You are under the tornado warning. It cuts off actually at University Heights. You're technically not under the polygon in, I think, at UVA, but you are just east of there in Charlottesville. Yeah, there's the University of Virginia. There's Business 29. So you talk about close. There's University Heights, UVA, Carrs Hill. Not in the polygon, but areas to the east are in the polygon. As soon as you go to the Bulford Middle School, the UVA Health System's in the polygon. Star Hill, Vinegar Hill, Sticks Shop, Rugby Avenue. You need to be taking cover. Village Square in the greater Charlottesville area. The severe thunderstorm warning is being continued as well off to the west until midnight. That's in this yellow polygon here. That includes Waynesboro until midnight. That's some pretty good rotation, pretty strong rotation being picked up. A little hard to see because, again, the radars are in between or on both sides of these storms. But again, it's Route 31, and it's a situation where we continue to see a fair amount of wind shear. Let me go back to our Storm Prediction Center page here, and we'll look up a couple of things. This is our radar page off of WeatherTap that shows us the strongest lightning, heaviest concentration of lightning, all the different advisories, just a slew of flood advisories still in effect for the Roanoke and NRV. Then as you get into Augusta County, where you see the burgundy colors, that's the tornado watch that's still in effect, and then tornado warnings that are in effect now for Charlottesville, and a severe thunderstorm warning for Waynesboro. Flood advisories continue for a good part of the area. But going back to our mesoanalysis page, let's look at, let's see, bulk shear. Let's look at wind shear. Wind shear is continuing to increase, and it's on the front of that area of higher winds at about 5,000 feet where most of these warnings are coming out, I've noticed. So if you look at, this is at 850 millibars. This is 20 to 30 knot wind coming out of the south right there. The very front of that. Sometimes when you've got a lot of wind, or at least some faster wind that suddenly hits, the air parcels blow through this area of wind. If that hits the lower wind values, that's called speed convergence. So if you've got, kind of like an interstate piling up, the cars slow down, it creates convergence of cars. It's kind of like the same thing in the atmosphere. You get some convergence here. So this wind isn't blowing as hard, but this wind is coming in faster. So it's piling up right there, and that's creating some additional convergence at that level that forces the air upward, and that's where you get that wave of storms that's developing there. And it's taking advantage of all of that shear. Go down to the surface, and again, you can see how we've got kind of a wide array here of wind directions that are blowing into the tropical center, which is still down across Tennessee. But we've got east winds basically from Stanton into Charlottesville. We've got a little boundary through here into south central Virginia. And then we've got the low-level jet that's coming in on the front edge of that. So it does make sense. It does make sense that that's where that is. Now, if you go back and look at that and try to make a perfect forecast and try to say, hey, we're going to see this in this county and this county, that's always hard to do. Models are getting better at that. But overall, we look at the overall wind shear, and you can see how we're looking at 30 to 40 knots of wind shear right near the area where we're seeing the severe weather. So that is not surprising. That is bulk shear, and I believe we're also red contours. That's the mixed layer cape. Okay. Significant tornado parameters have actually gone up a little bit in North Carolina, even though there's nothing on radar. Those numbers have increased a little bit. This is a new beta product called Tornado Tilting and Stretching. Basically, it looks at the potential to see if we've got anything spinning and able to take that spin and enhance it and get it going even more. And you can see those elevated values continue for Franklin County, Virginia, Roanoke, Virginia, down into North Carolina, including the Greensboro Triad. Not sure if that takes into account instability or not. There's not really a lot of instability there, but there is a lot of wind shear. So our instability has gone away. That's why the tornado watch was eaten away. But there's still some wind shear. So that's kind of an interesting dynamic. So we're seeing the supercell composite, though, still up. I think there's just enough cape, maybe not showing up here, where it's still, the wind shear is overriding our lack of instability. those two have to combine in some kind of way. So if you've got a little bit of cape or a lot of wind shear like we do right now, you can get tornadoes. Vice versa, if you've got a lot of cape and just a little bit of wind shear, you usually get microbursts or straight line winds. Those are usually the ones in the summertime, this time of the year, that can surprise folks. But you can see the overall tornado threat there. You've got one values higher than half to 1 are pretty significant. That's why the Storm Prediction Center has them bold here. But that's right near I-64 in Richmond. You've got values of 0.5 in this experimental product, which is tornadic 0 to 1 kilometer enhanced stretching potential, energy potential too. And also, again, Northwest North Carolina, you need to still be on guard, I believe. We've got a flood warning now for Charlottesville as well until 4:30 in the morning. The tornado warning is being continued for that area as well. It includes Greenfields, Hunters Hall, Shadwell Mountain, Ashcroft, Key West, Locust Grove. Tornado warning in effect for another 25 minutes. And the circulation is getting very close to Redland and Marshall Manor and Overton. That's, let's see, that's 53 here coming out of Charlottesville as you move past Patterson Mountain down to the south. Route 729, also 627. And near Keene is where this was drawn up by the National Weather Service out of Sterling. Here's our reflectivity, just going to show us the rainfall and whatever the radar is hitting there. Going to look to see if I see anything on our correlation coefficient. You can see that we're going to see a lot of cranberry colors, but you also see a lowering here. That's not good. That looks pretty impressive. It may be debris, folks. Haven't been looking much at the correlation coefficient, but this is a different color table. Let me check something out real quick before I sound too much of an alarm. Ooh. This is more than likely, it's maybe debris popping up on the radar. Those are very low values of correlation coefficient, so this may be on the ground. This is also getting into the freezing level too. I don't see, you see it drop off there at the freezing level, so that's something to consider, but it's still lower there near the surface too. So this could be on the ground. That's very, very concerning. So this is, if it's on the ground, it's probably going to scrape on the south side of Charlottesville near Shadwell, though. It's just near Monticello as well. That's a lot of rotation, and we've got in higher values of spectrum width, which you sometimes see with rotating or storms that start to rotate or increase in rotation. This shows us where within the radar beam is there a lot of differentiation in the wind speeds and direction, or the speeds in general. Yes, in that yellow area. That happens to be right where the tornado warning was issued and right where the rotation is. Hollymead, you've got some broad rotation over you, and in Gordonsville you need to watch out too. Dew point of 75 at I-64. That's some tropical air. New York City, I think it's more of a flash flood threat for you. No tornadoes, but there's always a chance of something spinning up, Stacy, but I'm looking more at a flood threat for New York City. Widen the view out just to give you an overall vantage point of what's going on here. So we've got a lot of rain falling through most of this area of Virginia here, but on this right where we've got another front too. We don't want to forget that front Royal. We've got the stationary front. So I talked about this boundary down to the south, but there's also a boundary up to the north. And anytime you have a boundary and wind shear, you're going to have some issues out there. Want to remind you that in Waynesboro, you still have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect. We're getting some RF interference there, but There's been some rotation in this. It's just been more in the broad sense, but they've labeled that as tornado possible in the Waynesboro on I-64 there. Crozet, somebody just asked me, you're under that severe thunderstorm warning, Kyle, until midnight. So you got another 20 minutes or so. I'd still watch this cell right there. That area has to still get through your area. And it may not hit you smack on, depends on exactly where you're at. You see it's moving more north in the Waynesboro, but there's also a few cells developing down here near Colesville too. This is the sucker that's got my attention near Charlottesville. Let me pull up my NDI. You can still see that very highlighted area there of gate-to-gate shear. It's a radar indicated tornado, but that's one of the more impressive radar signatures you'll see in this area, south and east of Charlottesville. So the tornado warning is continuing until midnight. A lot of lightning here too. Sometimes lightning will illuminate the tornado if it's there, but it's going to near Route 53 within the next few minutes. It's moving on to the northeast at, I think, 25 miles per hour. Let me see, make sure. Yeah, 46 degrees, moving 46 degrees at 25 miles per hour. So I'm going to go in here. I'm going to turn on manual track. Say it's 25 miles an hour, 46 degrees. So let me draw that. Yeah, so you see Gordonsville in the path. If it was to hold together, but your impact would be near 250. You've got about 12, 13 minutes or less, about 10 minutes. It'll be near Highway 53. If it's on the ground there. Now we got a new scan in. Doesn't look quite as bad, but we're also seeing some additional rotation there around Hollymead too. And clear that out. We've also got that new flash flood warning that's in effect for Charlottesville until 3:45 in the morning. So that's for just flooding, probably just coming from all the water pouring down, those tropical downpours in an urban area. You're going to see some ongoing flooding, or flooding getting worse around Charlottesville as well. And still Crozet and the Waynesboro, that severe thunderstorm continues there with a tornado possible, but it's just not a warning. It's a severe thunderstorm warning with the mention of a possible tornado at some point in the Waynesboro area. So Gordonsville in the overall path of this, but right now the concern is in and around the Charlottesville area. Look at it from the Blacksburg radar perspective, and you still got a special weather statement out for this overall area here. This cell, there's a cell near Buchanan, there's another cell over Waynesboro, and now this cell is shrinking. That's good, but still watching that rotation and very strong wind. If it's not rotating, and it is rotating, but if it's not a tornado, it's at least producing probably some wind damage near Monticello, Shadwell, and just outside of Charlottesville. Charlottesville, though, you're getting a lot of rain too, between 1 and 2 inches of rain. Expected rainfall 1.5 to 2 inches in an hour. Some of these rainfall amounts have been up around 4 inches per hour. Here's our new gate-to-gate shear, by the way. I think this is a value that gets computed in between radar scans. Hollymead, by the way, just east of Hollymead, near Gordonsville, south of Ruckersville, there's some enhanced rotation that's starting to look more impressive in the mid-levels of the atmosphere. So watch that too. You also see there's kind of some lightning around Hollymead. Just keep an eye on that. Just remember I said that. So there's our gate-to-gate shear, still very, very impressive. There's our flash flood warning for Charlottesville. We check R and K out. Got the flood advisory still in effect for Bedford, BOTETOURT, and Rockbridge County until 1:45. See, we look at our rotational tracks here on our GR Earth. Kind of gives us an idea, if we can look at this over the past hour, where our Earth spin has been located. And you can see that definitely there's a track from east of Livingston to Schuler here in the yellow. There's a track there just east of Charlottesville. And also noting it's not like a super big deal, but just kind of neat from a research perspective. There's some plus signs here. That's positive lightning. Lightning that's jumping out of the top of the cloud rather than the bottom of the cloud. There's been some research that suggests those positive lightning strikes, the occurrence of them, an increase in positive lightning strikes has been related to tornado formation. It's kind of loosely tied to it, but it's just interesting to note that we've got some of those positive lightning strikes near this tornado-warned storm. Something I'm just kind of keeping in the back of my head for right now. You can see the other areas of rotation that have kind of popped up north of Amherst in the past hour or so, now moving over Waynesboro and Crozet, and then east of Lexington and around the Buchanan area in the past hour, we've seen some rotation. Overall, this is our significant tornado parameter. So areas that are in the darker blue are at a low value, but they're not at zero. Anything above zero is significant when you're in a tropical air mass like this. So I don't think we should let our guard down anywhere in the area. Higher values are around Lynchburg. These values sometimes are a bit delayed because it's an hourly observation that we're computing off of the rapid update cycle model. But we're definitely watching the Lynchburg, the Charlottesville corridor right now for the most impressive amount of shear. I'm going to open up our GR Earth on this computer real quick so I can read to you the mesoscale discussion out of the Storm Prediction Center. I'm going to let that load up here. This is my infrared satellite. I'm going to go back over to, it's kind of a weird way to look at it. Let me do this real quick. I had my NHC on for the landfall of the hurricane just so I could see it better. Let's go to our line settings here and turn that back over to a darker color. And I'm going to change this to, just give me 1 second, color table, infrared. Okay, clean it up a little bit. Colder cloud tops, indicative of some deeper moisture. There's that purple circled area. And the reason I wanted to pop that up, I want to read this to you. This is from the Storm Prediction Center. It was issued at 11 o'clock at the top of the last hour. Several cells near Rockbridge to Albemarle counties in western and central Virginia have intensified over the past hour or so. So this was old. This is old now, but this was at the top of the hour, last hour. These cells continue to exhibit periods of weak low-level rotation as they shift north-northeast. This activity is occurring in the vicinity of a surface boundary, we talked about that, draped across the region within a corridor of stronger low-level instability. 3-kilometer mixed layer cape, around 100 to 125 meters per second squared. Low-level shear is somewhat less favorable with northeast extent compared to earlier this evening, but still sufficient enough to support rotating cells capable of brief tornadoes. So as these move a little bit farther north, they're getting away from the boundary in a way, but I'm also seeing these values creeping up from the south too. And we've got a new tornado warning just issued now for eastern Waynesboro. As I read that, this new one is in effect until 12:15. Northern Nelson County, southeastern Rockingham County, northwestern Albemarle County, east central Augusta County, eastern city of Waynesboro until 12:15. A severe thunderstorm capable of producing tornado located over Afton Mountain there near Waynesboro, moving northeast at 30 miles per hour. More around midnight. Other locations impacted include Afton Mountain and Greenwood. Again, I'll say it again. We are shattering the myth tonight that tornadoes do not happen in the mountains. We are literally seeing these things pop up right over the ridge tops of some of our most impressive topography. You see there are colder cloud tops lining right up with our tornado warnings as well. So that's a new tornado warning until 12:15. Show it to you what it looks like here on the bigger picture here, NDI. It's radar indicated, but it came off that same cell. Somebody asked me around Crozet. I said to watch out, and indeed near Waynesboro now. It does not include Crozet proper. It's just off to the west, but that's until 12:15, moving north. And then again, the Hollymead area, I think you still need to watch out too for rotation. It's in a broader sense, but you're in that general area of where we're seeing a lot of lightning, a lot of updrafts, meeting that low-level shear. Tornado possible in both of those areas. This is the radar out of Sterling, near Dooms, and again, Cremora. Probably didn't say that right. That's Afton Mountain. Right here, if you're watching on OBS, on Facebook or whatever, it's near my picture. Moving off to the northeast at 30 miles per hour. So let's look at the zoom in so we can see what's past it. Yeah, I can. So this is east of Waynesboro. Batesville's there. So we're going to get the bigger picture. Somebody wanted to see the overall picture. Let me show you. That's the regular radar, okay? So Harrisonburg's right here. This is Culpeper. DC is, there's Manassas. That's DC. So we're still in the I-64 corridor from Stanton to Charlottesville, okay? But these are moving off to the north and to the east at about 30 miles per hour. So as we advance it, you can see here's a loop. So that, you know, the general paths are going north and east toward Orange, Culpeper. No problem, no problem. And I'd still watch out around Harrisonburg. I think just east of Harrisonburg is going to see most of this activity. What concerns me is there's a stationary front around Front Royal and near Stafford, Spotsylvania. And that area is probably going to see some enhanced spinning as well as this continues to move on off to the north and to the east. So we'll let you see that. And if you certainly around Orange or Culpeper, if you've got people that you know in that area, you can be the hero. What we call that, be the hero, because we've done some social science work in the overall meteorological community that says if you text or just email a friend or give them a personal phone call, that personal connection, that personal warning they get from a friend or family member from you possibly could be the one they listen to, and that's what saves their lives. The ones on the radio and the alerts that come out on the phones automatically and on television sometimes don't do the trick. And even this feed right here may not be what it takes to get somebody in the path to realize how serious the situation is. But right now, if you have anybody in the path of these tornadoes, let them know. And Northern Virginia say, listen, you were still under a tornado watch, central Northern Virginia, till 3 o'clock. We've got potential, some very strong rotations still around Charlottesville and around Waynesboro, Virginia. I'm getting a new scan now that's coming in. If there is a tornado, it's just to the east of Charlottesville, right near I-64, right near the interstate. And that's nearing Gordonsville, the overall rotation, in Orange and Unionville, Madison, Culpeper again. Watching that area. See all that purple? That's a limit of the radar, not being able to pick up as much that far out from the radar. That's one of the bad things about this area, is there's a radar down in Floyd County, Virginia, and then there's a radar up in D.C., Sterling. But in between is where we're seeing all this activity. So the Earth is curved up underneath the radar beam. The radar beam shoots straight out, but the Earth curves underneath it. So where my cursor is right now, we are at 9,400 feet. There's a lot of that happens in the first 1,000 feet, 1/9 of what I'm showing you here, that we can't see at the ground. I can tell you it's just raining to beat the band, though. And I mean, you can see all that. Probably a lot of wind in there too. So definitely be in your safe place. Radar indicated tornadoes there. And your severe thunderstorm warnings also being continued. I'm going to hop off here. I'm just going to give you one more broad view of what's going on. We'll put these out as if you follow my social media, meteorologist Jamie Singleton. You also can follow my YouTube and my Twitter pages for all the alerts. I will be giving you these throughout the rest of the night and into the day tomorrow. It's going to be busy. There's your overall vantage point. Let's turn on our overall radar picture so you can still see we've got more bands of rain coming out of the Carolinas. And we'll put the last 6 hours on so you can get an idea too of what's going on. I'll take off, let's see, let's take this data off here. There we go. So you can see everything is spiraling around Ida, the remnants of Ida, and central Tennessee, near Knoxville. And everything's swirling around in a counterclockwise fashion. It's in that southeast sector through Virginia where we have all the problems out there. We've got our front up to the north. We've got a little boundary within this tropical air mass that produced possible tornadoes near Virginia Tech today. At least one anyway. Didn't hit the campus, but we've got some wind damage around the campus. And we've got some flooding issues too in the mountainous areas. As this continues to move on up toward D.C. and Baltimore, you're going to be looking at southern Pennsylvania too, getting several inches of rain, because look what's happening in Ohio. The rain's kind of converging in that area. And we're seeing basically a deformation zone setting up. This is becoming extra tropical. It's starting to use some of the cooler air to the north to its advantage. And in between is where you've got the battleground. So that's what's going on right now. Thank you so much for the follows. I really appreciate it on TikTok too. And I didn't know this was going to be such a big deal on TikTok, but however we can get the alerts out, we'll do it. Southeast Virginia Newport News. Yep, watch out, especially tomorrow. Okay, watch out tomorrow there, because this band here that's coming through late tonight and tomorrow is probably going to regenerate to some more activity for you in that area tomorrow.